The oaks of righteousness have been planted by the Lord, and he has a purpose for our having been planted. Now, what I want to do, I haven't really gotten an outline. I've almost backed off from outlines. They are so confining. But I have some notes, introductory notes that I put together, and I want to just read through these notes that I have. We'll display them and carefully look at what I have written here concerning this concept of our being planted. And we're going to look at some other verses as we go along about being planted by God, being planted in a certain place, being planted for a certain purpose by God himself. Let's read some of this. The planter always has a purpose for his plants. He carefully selects the plant. He carefully selects the place for each plant. He watches over it as it grows. He expects fruit from what he has planted. In the physical world, this is fully understood. This is merely the work of a farmer. And we all know the farmer's work is a very basic, understandable work. He plants deliberately. He selects the place that he plants. He watches over the plants, and he expects fruit. However, in the spiritual world, I'm not sure we understand the significance of what this means. God is the planter that is being referred to here. Men and women are the plants that he carefully chooses and plants. And you remember John 15:16. We quote this often. Most of us know this, when the Lord himself said, "You did not choose me, but I chose you to go and bear fruit." Consider this. God has personally selected you for a divine purpose. He chooses very carefully a place for you. He plants you there and desires that you display his splendor to those around you. He looks for fruit as you mature in your faith. And the more I understand God through his word, I realize that everything is being carefully watched and moved along by the Lord. And Acts 17:28 says this, "For in him we live and move and have our being." God has placed you and he moves you alone to show his splendor in the world. Being planted by God. We live in a very difficult world. And when you read the news around the world, almost without exception, it's a news of some kind of violence and war and disasters. And we sometimes get the impression that the world is just simply out of control. We're living in an age where there seems to be no strong leaders in our world. The Middle East is in turmoil.